When I was 12 years old, my father passed away. And as any young child at that time, I was acting out. So the Baptist minister convinced my mother to send me to a camp for 2 weeks. Now, I had never been away from home. I went. I had a wonderful time. But when I got back, the pastor said to me, "You better stop acting up or you're on a hell-bound train." Now, he said this to me right before I was to go up in front of the church to say how nice my little 2-week trip was down in, I think it was Maryland, where that camp was. I can't remember. So now, right before I was to walk up in front of the church, he tells me, "You better act right or you're on a hell-bound train." Well, I walked up into the front of the church, and I never turned around to look at the congregation. I looked up at him, and I said, "If I'm on a hell-bound train and you're the conductor," and I turned and beelined out of that church. So when I got home, my mother was upset. She had just lost her husband, and here's this 12-year-old child really acting out, missing her father. And I said, "Mom, do I have to go back to that church?" And she said, "No." So then I started looking for religion, because I felt that if I'm hurt because my father passed away, what right does this man have to tell me that I'm on a hell-bound train? What is hell and what is heaven? Nobody has ever came back to tell me. So I searched and I searched around, and I ran into a friend of mine, and she was Quaker at the time. And she said, "Althea, go over to Westchester meeting and sit there in silence and see what you find." And that's what I did. I woke up early one Sunday morning, went over to Westchester meeting, and I felt a peace that is unsurpassable. I've never felt that peace before. And I felt a love from the community. And the only other time in my life that I felt that love is when I looked in my son's eyes. I was holding him and I looked in his eyes and I felt that same love. So I went to Gwinnett. I joined Gwinnett, and I became a Quaker. I raised my son as a Quaker. And the rest of my days on this planet, I will remain a Quaker, because it's an inner peace. And there's no one over top of you saying that you're on a hell-bound train or you're not doing good enough or whatever. I think God is a big, big light, and we're all little parts of that light. So nobody should ever tell, and people should watch what they say to children, because, that I was 12, and that was very harsh. And, and that was in 1968. That was pretty much verbal abuse. So when my mother passed away, I saw that preacher, and she, and I told him how I felt. And he totally agreed with me. But to me, Quakerism is my time with God. And then part of that, and I tell my son every day, we're here to help each other. I have a saying, because I am a writer, an activist, and a poet, is I'm not here to see through you as much as I'm here to see you through. We're all in this thing together. Quakerism is a community to me, and here at Marion Meeting, we're like a family. Up at Gwinnett, which I am a member of and just a heavy attender of Marion, because it's too far to drive every Sunday to Gwinnett. I have a family there. I have a family here. And like George Fox said, the light of God is in every being. And I take that a step further. It's in the animals. It's in the trees. It's in the grass we walk on. We're all here and a part of something really, really huge, if you just take the time, sit back and breathe in and feel the goodness. I like Quakerism because they helped the blacks when there was slavery, there was abolitionists. A lot of black people go, "Oh, whoa, what are you doing being a Quaker?" Well, if it wasn't for the Quakers, there would still probably be slavery. But a lot of people don't want to read and enlighten themselves. To me, Quakerism is enlightenment. It took a lot for the abolitionists to sneak black people up through the Underground Railroad and everything. So that means a lot to me for my ancestors, because my grandmother was a slave in Jamaica. And moved up to Orangeburg, South Carolina. That's where my family started, and then came to Coatesville. So as a black Quaker, I'm really proud to be a Quaker. You have any more questions for me, James?
I think you answered all of them. I think you explained one of my next questions was like basically from your perspective, what is Quakerism? And I feel like you explained that so beautifully.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any like old Quaker stories you may have heard, in passing that have become meaningful to you?
Yes, one in particular. Up at Gwinnett Meeting, there's this really huge block, and it has steps on it. And they said the people would ride up and get out of their carriages on that step. And when I pass on, because I'm an organ donor, I want to be cremated, and my son promised to sprinkle my ashes around that rock where, they say slaves stood on that rock, people got out of their carriages on that rock, and one day I'm going to be a piece of that rock, because we all are a piece of the rock. Mm-hmm.
What does Quaker practice have to say? I mean, you say that you're, an activist and a poet, and those things are intertwined in such a beautiful way. Can you explain what Quaker practice and your activism and some of the things that you think Quakerism has to do for the problems of today?
I think with the rate of mass incarceration of the black male, school shootings, if people, I really can't tell people what to do, but to sit in silence at a Quaker meeting for me gives me this inner peace. So I've protested on PNC Bank for mountaintop removal. I remember the guy, oh my God, I can't think of his name, from Virginia, Dustin
White.
Dustin White.
Yeah.
And when meeting his mother and them saying how babies were born with tumors because of the water. And I think Quakers do a lot for the planet. We won't have anywhere else to live if we don't take care of this planet. It's just, the worst thing I've ever heard is they found in the Pacific Ocean the size of Texas, just trash. The size of Texas, can you imagine? And the other week, when the whale landed on the beach over somewhere and had 26 pounds of plastic in it, I picked up a plastic bag after I heard that, and I'm like, 26 pounds, that's a lot of plastic bags. So, my family, they're Baptist, and I go to Bible-beating, chicken-eating Baptist, because you have this preacher who always has his hand out. In Quakerism, we help people. It's just so simple. We're not on this planet alone, and people should wake up and not be biased towards blacks, Jews, or gays, or should we get a third bathroom? Just, if somebody got to use the bathroom, let them use the bathroom. It's just so simple, and then people make it so hard.
Wow. I guess in closing, I was wondering, do you happen to remember any of your poems off the top of your head that you could share with us?
Oh, off the top of my head.
And I'll just say for the camera, this is, you have, we have a time situation here because some of the other meetings are a little longer, but actually you've said so much
pretty
in
much
a very
in a
short
little
amount
bit
of time.
Off the top of my head, December, I remember our love, so sweet it was. January, snow flurry, I'm without you. February, lover's eve broke my heart. Pray I march on through to the lucky showers of April. Then may I love at June's high noon for July's celebration. Granted be in August, my birthday, I see school children in harmony. So Halloween's mystery of trick or treat make all our Thanksgivings so very sweet. God bless you, James. I love you, man.
I love you. Thank you so much.
No problem.